How are things though, Warren?
It's good.
Long time no see. We haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while, actually. I think the last time I was here was like almost like last summer.
Yeah.
It's been a while, even for
Yeah.
me. Yeah. Like when did like with COVID, you were still operating, right? Like you were allowed to because it's like private.
With COVID, I shut down.
Okay, yeah.
Technically, right? But in my lease, I negotiated something that I didn't have to pay rent during COVID. So it was an
Okay.
easier shutdown for me than other people.
But that was close to when you got the gym, and then COVID was pretty soon after,
Yeah.
right?
So we
Or
got,
no.
got the gym in June, and then the next shutdown was the following January.
Yeah, but you got this place because like during COVID.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I came here because the OAC shut down.
Yes. Okay. So it was after the
Yeah.
initial COVID outbreak.
Yeah. So I was at a big box gym called the Ottawa Athletic Club.
Yeah.
That's where I met you.
That's where we
and,
met.
And David, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But I don't think you and I interacted that much though.
Not really. You were more of a night guy, like the powerlifting
Yeah.
night crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was a morning guy.
I was a desk and track.
Yeah.
How was the transition going from like a big to a big gym like that to like a public gym to owning your own private gym? Like what was the thought process in that? Because that's really scary.
Yeah.
Going from like quote unquote an employee to being your own boss and having to operate a whole business that I don't know if you have any business background or this was just you diving into everything.
Well, like technically, I own my own business at the Ottawa Athletic Club. I was an independent contractor, so I always like to have control over things. I felt like with the amount of work I put into things, I would want to have control. So there wasn't too much of a shift to that. It's more the managerial side, all of the administration stuff that I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
So doing that now, that takes the majority of my time when I think that I really enjoy the training aspect, but sometimes it has to take a back seat when you're a business owner.
For sure.
Um,
Were you pretty confident? Like enough people were coming with you, like clients?
Yeah, like I made my business proposal and my business plan.
Yeah.
And looking back, I made 3 different scenarios. 50% of people followed me, 75 and 100%. And after everything, about 50% of people followed me.
Okay.
So it was at the lower end for me, but right out of the gate, like this beautiful place,
Yeah.
nice equipment, good kind of community that I had built through the 10 years I was at the Ottawa Athletic Club.
Yeah.
People did follow me, and then people bring other people, right? So
Yeah.
everything worked out pretty well for me. I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't go back to that now.
Yeah.
Just because it would be hard for me to listen to other people's, maybe that's not the right thing to say.
Yeah.
What, opinions and stuff? Like people
No.
saying it wouldn't work, or?
Not opinions, but it's more so like the training aspect, like you should be doing this, like during a sales call, tell people this. Like I remember some of the
see.
stuff at a big box gym, it's like, tell people if they say they can't afford it, ask them like how much money they spend on coffee or what they spend out at a dinner. Like that's, I don't think you should be getting into that stuff with people. That's more their personal life.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
want to focus on more of the outcomes for people.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's a trend in sales in general right now, but especially for something like health, like when you're investing in health, it's like, I'm not trying to trick you into buying this. It's like,
And it's like, through what I've learned in sales, it's if someone doesn't want to buy something, talking them into buying something isn't going to give you a valuable long-term client.
yeah, exactly.
Like if somebody's willing to make that change, then yes, they're good to have.
Yeah.
But if you have to talk them into it, then it's probably not the best.
Yeah.
Like there will be problems down the line.
There's actually a book I just read called Unselling. It's this guy, Kevin Casey's like from Newfoundland, but his whole concept is like your goal with selling isn't to sell, it's to get to know as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Like if they like figure out that this isn't for them as fast as possible and then move on, because
Yeah.
you just want to find the people this actually benefits and actually works for.
Yeah. And like you guys know, like owning your own business, there's only so much time you have and you can dedicate to that.
Yeah.
So if you can dedicate whatever, those hours to your clients that mean a lot to you and help you and pay for your services, then you should give more time to those people.
Yeah.
But isn't like knowing the fact that like locking in a client is somewhat difficult and then going from like to this giant beautiful gym that you have, right? Like because usually people like don't, this is like their 10-year plan. Like what you have right now is someone's like 10-year plan, right? Like why make that jump? Like were you just really confident with yourself knowing that you got it, or what was the thought process behind that? Because this is really scary, like I don't know, like just doing anything business related is pretty scary, but going to like this level.
Yeah, well, this was like, and again, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. So again, this, like when people see this, they're like, oh, you've took this big jump, but it's been slow for me.
Yeah.
Like this isn't like just I went from nothing to something.
Okay.
Like I've always had a large base of clients at my old gym, and I've always dealt with a lot of high level athletes. Like one of our intern probably 15 years ago, and then working at the OAC, and now I'm here. I was confident because mainly I believe in myself, and I know how hard I work. I believe if everybody else like worked as hard as I did and do, then they can be here too. There's no there's no secret sauce to this. It's just wake up early, work as hard as you can all day, learn as much as you can, and then go to bed and just repeat.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent. If you don't feel like waking up and working hard, it doesn't matter. You still have to do it. And that's what I like about owning a business. There's no way you can sit back and not do that and be successful.
Yeah.
So it depends on like what you want to do. If you want to just be happy working a 9 to 5, that's fine too. But for me, I could never do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're accountable for yourself and that's it.
Yeah.
It's on you.
Yeah.
But was this like at all a plan you had before everything shut
Oh, yeah.
down? Yeah.
Like for me, this is ever since I was in high school, I wanted to own my own gym.
Okay.
Like, so just playing sports growing up, like I was always in the gym helping athletes. And I got a lot of help myself too. Just being coached by other people. And then like learning from these people and then being in the gym community growing up, I always thought I want to own this eventually. So like I started coaching basketball, coaching volleyball, coaching people in the gym, even when I was in high school unpaid. And so I've always wanted to do this. It's not like something that I just picked up later in life and I wanted to do it then. This has been like a goal of mine for almost 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy because even at the OAC, like I knew you when I was powerlifting and I would like ask you questions and stuff about what I was doing. And it was unique. You were the first person I met that was like the first personal trainer, just like fitness person that wasn't just, yeah, you do high volume to build muscle, like the very basic knowledge. Like you were very like, oh, your lower back's hurting. Like that's because your glutes tight. Like there's these very like unique, like intense things that I would never have known. And it was like, you're very knowledgeable in a way I didn't see up to that point.
And I think that comes from personal experience too. Like for me, I fractured my back. So
Yeah.
learning how to rehab something like from a textbook and how to do it practically are two different things. Like
Yeah.
if you tell me your back's hurting, I have to be able to empathize with you and think like, oh, I know how that feels because I've been there.
Yeah.
And that's where I think there is a bit of disconnect for like the practicality and the theoretical knowledge in my industry. So I think getting a coach that has been through these issues before, whether it's certain level of athletics or injury prevention, you're going to be better off having somebody that's been through these things.
Mm-hmm. What is your experience in sports? Like, were you ever like what level?
Like
were
I
you
played
playing?
high school basketball, volleyball, and then club basketball. Nothing too good. Like I was always like more of like a grinder, I would say.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to like jump high, right? That was my big thing when I was a kid. Is like, how do I dunk a basketball?
Mm-hmm.
And if you like, I know it sounds kind of like it's a funny niche thing, but if you played those sports, you know how important that is.
For sure.
And so for me, training growing up, like that was my number one goal. So my friend would have these funny shoes that like you have these big pads under their toes. So I'd run around my neighborhood with them, pull my calf, think like, okay, that's learn from that. Be like,
Yeah.
okay, that's not the thing to do.
Yeah.
And then so after that, like after high school, I stopped playing basketball. I wasn't good enough to play like college level. And then I got into weightlifting and I competed like provincial level. Again, I was pretty good. I was getting better and better. And then I fractured my back and that ended that. I tried to come back after fracturing my back and then I ruptured my Achilles. And then I was like,
Jesus.
okay.
How'd you break your back?
I was actually at the OAC and I was warming up and somebody was running around the track because there's a track around where the weightlifting
Yes,
section
yes.
was. And somebody just came onto my platform and ran into me and I just like turned me sideways and just, so fractured two
Like with the
facet
bar
joints.
on?
Yeah.
Oh,
we just warm
man.
up too. And then herniated 3 discs and fractured 2 facet joints. So,
God.
but again, like looking back, even if I had made it to a higher level of weightlifting, I wouldn't have, it's not like you make money or be successful really, right? Like I was
Yeah.
never going to go to the Olympics. So looking back, and then I got to learn how to rehab back injuries. So I think it may have been the best thing for my career in this industry.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you have lots of experience with injury, so you've experienced it. But I guess yeah, for you, it was the goal wasn't so much being a pro at the sport. It was just like figuring it out, learning it, and being
Yeah.
able to train it one day. Like
Well, I think everybody wants to be a pro when they're younger.
for
Like, That's
sure.
just the goal.
Yeah.
Or at least play collegiate level sports, but sometimes it's not in the cards for
Yeah,
all of us. I
yeah.
mean, you realize now, like when I have young athletes come to me, people always tell me and their parents tell me, like, we want our kids to go professional. And I say, well, like there's such a small minority of people that get to that level. What we should be aiming for these kids is like get an education at a good school, right? If you can leverage your athletics and get an education at a good school, that should be the ultimate goal for people.
Yeah.
Like whether you're going to NCAA or anything, if you can have that education paid for because you're good at a sport,
yeah,
why not
That's crazy.
take advantage of that?
Yeah, that's so true.
So right now, like, what is your main focus? Because like I know, like with this gym, you built this gym with like an intention of like rehab and just like like
Athletic.
for athletics
Yeah.
development and whatnot. So like for you as a personal trainer, like what is your main focus?
Well, right now, like in the day, it's mainly injury rehabilitation and just mainly general pop training. So just if anybody's coming off the street for training, and at night it's high level athletics. Personally, right now, like my dad has Parkinson's, so I'm focusing more on like neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, these things. You can see the benefit these guys get once they go through like a workout, like the stimulation they get, they leave happier, healthier, posture's better. So I think that's like a big personal kind of goal for me, is to get into that realm.
Okay. And in order for you to get that, do you need some sort of certifications, or
No, like
do you need to just, can you, a normal personal trainer just do the things that you're doing right now?
Like there's certain like certifications you can have that I do have, but it's more, I think, like I think it's more just having a passion in helping people like that, right? Like you have to want to do that, and not everyone really wants to do that. Like, everyone that gets into my industry now, I find the young guys, it's like they want to train professional guys.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like when you deal with these older people that have degenerative issues, their training is literally life and death, right? Like they may develop these issues and get worse and worse and have a kind of a step disease and regress until they like can't get up, can't move, do anything, right? So everybody wants those high level pro guys, but sometimes having the general pop injury rehabilitation clients makes it more of a difference for us.
Yeah. And like, yeah, you have a real, like you said, life or death impact on these people that could actually change their lives. Like that's crazy. But no, it's cool. It's like you come from a place of like the things you experience and wanting to learn about them and then pass that knowledge on. Like, yeah, it's not so much about the glory and being a pro. But I'm curious a bit more about like the business side of things. Like, because obviously, yeah, it's a big gym.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. Like there's a lot of equipment here. Like so I know you have some trainers that work here and train their clients. You have some physio, you have like different classes, or not class, but group training. Like what's the split there between like your clients versus like what other trainers are doing? And
we're all pretty even, I would say.
yeah.
So yeah, we have physiotherapy, we have kinesiology, like injury rehab, and then we have our athletic development.
Yeah.
And again, like we've built a pretty good team here. Like I really care about that. I value our relationships. It's not just like I'll bring in anybody off the street, because at the end of the day, it's a reflection on me. And like you guys know with your business, it's a reflection of you too, right? So who you bring in really impacts you. And like, so yeah.
It's pretty even.
I want to like step back a little bit with the gym thing. Like for this gym, like I'm just out of curiosity, I don't know how comfortable you are with this question, but like what's like a startup cost to like start a gym like this? Like give me a breakdown, like how big is this gym, and like what was the like your initial investment for a gym like this? Because this is like a high-end
It's
gym.
crazy.
Yeah, it's a high-end gym. It's not like a normal gym where
So
people
it-
go do curls and
I know like there is a formula that some people will use, like per square footage.
Okay.
Again, so this is 6,500 square feet, but about 2,000 of the square feet is like functional gym space, kind of like upstairs,
Storage, yeah.
storage, showers, things like that. Usually you're looking at probably, like for me personally, the startup cost was about 350,000. Wow. So coming into this, like putting my house on the line, putting the car on the line, like I was all in. And I think if you want to succeed in business, you have to be.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're clearly all in, because it's like, yeah, there's certain investments that when, like I was gonna say, yeah, like when you're starting a gym that's meant for one-on-one training, it's not a public, membership gym. Like usually people get one room, maybe the size of that smaller gym there, and like that's the whole thing. And they have a bathroom that people change in, whereas like this is 2 stories, multiple gym, like 3 different workout spaces, full-size change rooms, and then like custom dumbbells like with that rotates. Like you really did go all in. You know? It's like,
I know. And you have like equipments I've never heard about before, like
Yeah.
the Nord boards, right?
Oh,
and all those things.
But I feel like the people that will pay for your services, they appreciate that.
Of
right?
course.
Like
Yes.
if you're dealing with people that want to pay for training, people notice the finer details and things, and that's how I would, like, if I was looking for a gym, that's what I would look for.
Yeah.
Whether it's custom dumbbells or specific equipment, anything like that, like people appreciate those things and notice the small things.
and it's purposeful. It's not like just cosmetics. Like these are like wide grip with the
Yeah.
rotating to help with your joint pain, and like there's purpose to these things.
Well, yeah, grip strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like, did you know who your clientels were going to be going into this gym, and that's why you invested into the higher end equipment?
Yeah, like I just, again, like my clientele's always been the same. Usually I deal with more pragmatic, practical people, I would say, like less emotional. Like I don't really take too many of the, I have a wedding in like 3 months, I want to lose 20 pounds kind of person. Not saying that's bad, it's just that that's not the client that I deal with. Usually it's more of like the engineers, the doctor kind of brain, where it's like, I know what I have to do, consistently put this work in, and I'm happy getting like small steps to get better.
I just need someone to kind of give me the frame.
Exactly. Give me
help
the
through it.
framework, help me out through exercise technique, and show me what to do.
Yeah, not sweet. When you did, so you said like 50% of your clients came over. Were you still kind of scrambling to try to bring in more? Was that a very high priority, or were you more focused on just the ones you had and slowly growing it?
That's a good question. I would focus more on the people that I had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Because like, I think the biggest thing, whether you're in, like we've invested in advertising, well, I did it with you guys. I've done it myself. The best advertising you can do is word of mouth in my industry. Like if you get one client or two clients from a client that you've done well by, then it's worth a lot more than any ad you can ever produce.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So for me, it was all concentrating on the athletes that I had and the injury rehab people that I had. And like, cause I had a big stable of athletes before, and then COVID happened, right? So 2 years. So let's say you're a 15, 16, 17-year-old hockey athlete. You go down to the States. 2 years go by, like you're somewhere else in life, you're somewhere else training, so it's hard to get those people back.
Yeah.
But the general pop people that I knew in Ottawa mainly stayed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And you do have higher end clients too, so like you
Yeah.
don't need necessarily like
A
100 clients. You
Yeah.
you could be comfortable with having 25 or 15 or however many it is.
Well, that's what I always tell people, like in terms of if you're starting your own gym, you don't need more than 100 people. You
Yeah.
need 100 committed people that are really willing to invest in your services. It's not like you need to go out and get 500 people, or like when we were at the OAC, like have 5, 6, 7,000 members.
Yeah.
Because it's
Jesus, that's a lot.
It's not going to be sustainable. You won't be able to service those people well, and eventually you're going to lose people. So I'd rather do really well by a small number of people than like a mediocre job with a larger number of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think? I know we're going back, but like, what did you think about the OAC? Because like to me at that time, this was like the best gym that exists. You know, it's like it was
Honestly,
so cool.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome, and I do miss like the big gym feel of seeing like a bunch of random people throughout the day, right? Just different people that you would interact with that I would never see otherwise. So, and like being at the OAC was also, I'm grateful for them to have me there because I got a whole bunch of clients from there, right?
Yeah.
Without being in that big box gym setting, I wouldn't have had the clients I have today.
That's fair.
And I always tell young trainers that too, like people don't want to go to Good Life, Mo Body, because I think it's like kind of a step down. They want to work at like these higher end places, but there's no, like if a new trainer comes to me, they're not going to be able to see 100 different people a day.
Yeah.
So you want to like start those big box gyms, hone your skills, see as many different people as you can, and never say no to somebody that needs help. That's what I'm.
Yeah. When you're early on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because no, it was a really cool spot. Like I would do an 8-hour track shift in like 6 hours that were just talking to people, like just hanging out. Like it was a very cool vibe. It was sad when that closed, but
I know that was a beautiful gym. Like that was the very first gym I actually attended to, and you literally had everything. Remember the squash racket area?
Yeah.
I would go there in the winter and I'd throw my pitches.
Really?
I remember I'd throw a baseball. Actually, it wasn't a baseball. It was like a t-ball.
Yeah.
So it was like a little soft. And I remember like a worker coming in and was like, "Hey, you guys can't do that." You know, I was like, "Hey, it's a softball." You know, it was pretty funny. But operating from like a big box gym in comparison to this, how is your operation different in comparison to a big box gym like that?
Well, again, there, like I was just an independent contractor. So let's say my hours were like I would set my own time.
Yeah.
So if I'm coming in from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. and I have 8 clients, I just come in, train the clients, and leave. Right.
Okay.
So it's like I have no operational responsibility.
Okay.
Right. So, but here it's much different. Right? Here I have to do all the billing, like a lot of the cleaning. You have to keep all the upkeep of the machines. So I'm much more on the admin side now, or just a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But there it was strictly training.
Yeah.
Which I do miss a little bit because that's like what my passion is, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, to get to a certain level that I want to get to, you have to diversify a little bit.
For sure.
Exactly.
I mean, when you own a business, like you are everything. Like you wear every hat. I was having this conversation the other day with a guy who owns a home service business, and like they do some like really sick content. And like we were just talking back and forth. And the other day we were building some stuff at the studio, and like I was like, isn't it wild? Like you build things for your job, but you're a full-time content creator. We have a content creation business, but we're building things every day. It's like when you own a business, you literally have to do everything.
But
It's
that's
insane.
the beautiful part about it, though, is because like you become so diverse. You know everything, and when you do delegate your task, nobody can fuck you over.
Yeah.
Right? Because for example, if like like you're fucking up my accounting. Like I kind of know how that thing is, you know. Like nobody can really steal from you, or like you just know how things should be running.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a good point too. It's like for my QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Right? You have to know how your QuickBooks works. So, like I have a bookkeeper that really helps me out. But like if things aren't right, I know it because I took a weekend just like learning myself. Right. And you have to. If you want to be successful.
Yeah. You're not with Tamara anymore, eh?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah, she dropped us.
Oh, she
she
did?
got a second job, so she's like, yeah, I got to drop some clients. I'm like, damn.
Oh,
We weren't big enough, bro.
No, literally.
We're not making enough money for her to keep us, bro.
We also put her through hell. Like when we first started, we had just changed bank accounts, so she was like, she had to deal with some trouble, but
she's been awesome.
she was great.
Like even like
She was sweet.
I just talked to her like 2 days ago. She was awesome.
No, she's
But
good.
like we can cut this.
We're
part
set
out, but I
up.
think she's like she undervalues her.
Oh yeah.
And like we kind of talked about with you guys, I think like a while ago. It's like you really have to value your own services,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
she does a lot of work.
Yeah.
For like a little bit of pay.
I was surprised.
And like I feel like honestly
Yeah.
bad. Like I was like, I'll send you more money. I know how long this takes because
Mm-hmm.
like we talked about what QuickBooks entails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I'm sending you $30. I know you just probably worked like 2 or 3 hours for
Yeah.
this. Like this
But
doesn't make sense.
But that's the thing, because sometimes when you're like kind of quote unquote running your own business, you kind of feel guilty. Like
Yeah.
someone like, oh my god, like am I
Yeah.
charging a lot of money for this? But the thing is, like for you, it might take you 4 hours to do something, but the person that's asking you to do it will take them like 2 days,
Yeah.
and that's 2 days worth of work that they could be putting in working on their business, right?
Yeah.
But like when you start your own business, like when Mason and I first started, we were like, oh fuck, man, like we're gonna charge $100 for this. This is a lot of money, you know? Like, should we even tell him that this quote is like $350? But now it's like the more like you appreciate your value and understand your own value, you're just like, yo, this is what I charge, right? There's one guy that I was talking to, or like he said something along the line of like he doesn't charge based off people's budget. He charged people based off of the value that is provided.
Yeah.
You know, and that goes a long way.
And that's a hard thing to place a monetary value on that as well too. Like,
Yeah.
His value to his work is different than what you perceive his value would
Correct.
be as well. So at the end of the day, you just have to make your pricing, and if you believe in it, then stick with it. Like people will ask you for discounts, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean they can always go somewhere else, right? There's other
Yeah.
gyms, there's other media companies.
Yeah.
You put the decision in their hands, and if they want to do it, they do it.
Yeah, but
That's-
it's like you said too about like it's not about like when you're talking about bring on new clients, like it's about the outcome more than anything.
Yeah.
Because if you're saying, okay, yeah, it's this much an hour, this much per video, this much per whatever, like they can nitpick and negotiate. Whereas it's like these are the results we're gonna give you. This is how much we're charging, yes or no. Like that's the offer. There is no hourly rates or whatever. Like you decide.
But the thing for us too, though, is sometimes when we operate from a desperation, from a place of desperation, like okay, fuck it, we'll charge this much instead,
Yeah.
you know, instead of like we kind of devalue ourselves just because we are somewhat quote unquote desperate. Like okay, we need the extra cash flow, so let's just take on this client. Do you ever come across that same issue where like okay, I'm kind of running low on clients, I'll take this person even though this person wants a discount?
No, I would never do that because I feel like that's disrespectful to the clients that I've had for like 5-10 years.
Okay.
Like let's say I have old clients that I do like I'll stick to our older pricing that we had like just previous, just because I think that's a nice thing to do for them and they've
Yeah.
been with you for a long time. But if somebody comes and asks me for a discount, that's a brand new client. Why would I give them a discount if I'm not giving someone that's been paying for my services for 10 years a discount?
Wow.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's what I believe.
That's an
It just
interesting way.
doesn't make sense to me, and I think that's what a lot of other people don't understand as well.
Yeah.
And it's hard to value that loyalty. Like, why shouldn't they get a discount?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why should this new person?
It's true. And like, there's just something about it, such a classic thing, but the people asking for discounts are going to be the highest maintenance people.
Yeah.
Like, whereas the people who just like, that's the value, I agree with you, I'm in, like, they're just happy with what they're getting because they see the value. Whereas someone nitpicking a few dollars is also going to nitpick how much they get out of it.
Yeah,
Like,
and
Exactly.
that's what I've noticed too, and that's what I talked about, like the emotional people over the more pragmatic people.
Yeah.
Pragmatic people can see your value, and usually maybe they're business owners or something, right? They know if you say a price, that's the price.
yeah. Yeah. It's like you say, you're literally saying to your bookkeeper, like, this should be more. Like, you should charge
Yeah.
me more because you see the value.
But it's like you don't go to Farm Boy and like negotiate
Yes.
the price
Exactly.
of, like the price of a banana. You don't
Yeah.
go up to the cashier and do that. So why would you do that in other industries?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
find it like I don't know why that's trickled down into different industries, but it has.
And like for you, like if you're doing a lot of business owners, that helps. But for us, like our clients are always business owners, so it helps us to say too, like, look, like if someone came to your gym, for example, and wanted 20% off your personal training, would you do that? No, because it's the value. It's like we can help put it in their mindset, like make it make sense.
And same with you guys. Like I know now that I've like started to take videos, and I've always been like pretty not anti-social media, but I never had social media before.
Yeah.
Like just doing like taking videos, it's so much work. Like the editing
Yes.
process, you guys.
You're
have to
doing a
go through.
great.
No.
You're doing one hell of a great
all
job
that
for
stuff-
that though. It's crazy.
You are good, man.
Well, I just like learn. I just like take a weekend. I'm like, this is what I want to learn this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife will be like, can you come to bed? It's like 2 a.m. I'm like, no, I'm on this YouTube. I got to learn how to figure out Final Cut Pro. Like,
Yeah.
it's just the worst.
Okay, so you're using Final Cut Pro to edit.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
Final Cut on Apple. Yeah, no, we've been seeing the content, man. You're good. Cause like, yeah, there's one thing. I mean, first of all, just the act of doing it on your own. Like we've been talking about all episode of how much you have to do to run a business, to then throw learning and doing video production is not easy.
Yeah.
So it's sick to see, but yeah, no, you make good stuff, man.
Well, and that's what I think when we talk about sacrifice. I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Like, you cannot be a good business owner, a good husband, a good friend, a good brother, a good father, right? You have to sacrifice some of these like areas of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like you have to be able to sacrifice something. If you're not willing to do that, you probably shouldn't be going into business.
Yeah.
Because
And-
like I'm sacrificing like my social life. Like we don't
Yes.
go out, and then like a part of that is that I sacrifice like my wife's social life. Right?
Yeah.
It just happens. So like we have to stay in because I want to learn this, and I get a little obsessive over things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to learn this weekend. If I don't, like I know I'm going to work 60 hours this week. So if I don't learn it tonight, I'm not going to learn it until next
Yeah.
week.
I'm going through that right now, man.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes, like for example, I was supposed to have dinner with my girlfriend the other day. I told her dinner's at 8. I left the studio at 8:30. You know, and it's like a 45-minute drive to get home. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah,
And-
but it's also like it's like eras, you know. Like you have periods in your life. Like when you're starting a gym, of course, you're gonna have to sacrifice your social life and stuff. But maybe if one day you have more trainers in, you're a little more hands off, then you can kind of lean more in that direction.
Yeah.
Like it's not okay. The rest of my life, I'll never hang out with my friends
yeah, of
again.
course.
So it's like, yeah, you gotta be able to say, I'm gonna sacrifice that right now because I need to do this. I need to learn this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like so. Yeah, you're learning it. You're getting Final Cut Pro going. You got the DJI mics. You're like you're
No, I
going
got
up.
the not the DJI. What is it? I got the Rode.
Is it
mic.
not? Oh, you
The
got
road
Rode.
mic.
Okay.
Yes.
But in my YouTube rabbit hole, I did see DJI mic 2 or
The
something.
new
is that?
one.
Yeah.
It's sick. It's sick.
And then, but you get into this thing like, look at all this beautiful equipment you guys have now.
Yeah.
It's like, how much more stuff do I need?
You
Like,
don't,
For
you
me,
don't.
I don't need that much stuff.
No, even the mics, like the new mic, it's sweet. Like the new
Yeah.
DJI mic, I love it. It's really cool. But like we have the highest end Rode version. It's like yeah, it has one other feature, this or that, but it's like I can record audio. I'm good. Like you don't need to be so, especially at like when you're just doing it for yourself. Like
Yeah.
for us, it sometimes the equipment just kind of makes it justify what we're charging. You know, if we show up with like we could absolutely film all our client videos on our phone, like because it's social media content.
Yeah.
But first of all, you know, just being able to say like this is different than if you were to do it yourself. Like there's reasons, and this gives us more control, and this and that. Like it adds to the value, but at the end of the day, yeah, you don't need all the equipment in the world.
Well, again, it comes back to like perception of value.
Yeah.
Like I could do a lot of the stuff I do here in a tiny little gym.
At your
But again,
home.
people like the experience as well. So
Yeah.
like the experience we're getting now is a lot different than if you just had your phone set up. on a
Exactly.
tripod.
Exactly.
absolutely.
It's
And
so
we,
true.
we talk about value too. Like the amount of time I put into making videos, you guys could probably do it in 1/10 of the time.
Yes, that's very true. But yeah, like what's like, how are you like getting ideas for these, or is it just stuff people are
I just
asking
think,
you
like,
day to day?
Like I'll just get random questions on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'll just get like random ideas pop into my head.
Yeah.
And I find like once I get that, I write it down in my book.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll come back and film this. And then sometimes I'll film things for like 2 hours in here. Doesn't work out. And I just go home
Yes,
frustrated.
I know.
And man,
I was
those
like,
are the
"Doesn't-
worst.
doesn't make any sense.
The
Those are the
talking
worst.
videos are hard, or like
Yeah.
you film it all and you feel good, then you start editing it. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't
forgot
even
this.
use this. Yeah.
You know what you need to invest in if you're doing a lot of talking videos is a teleprompter.
Yeah. I was thinking about that actually because it's like, for me, I'm like, I like to have a script. I like to say
Yeah.
all these things. If I forget 2 things on this technique.
Yeah.
And I don't
Because
like
yours is
it.
technical.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But that's the one thing too though, like you also gotta learn how to act natural. You're almost acting as well. You gotta add the
Yeah.
hand movements and the hand gestures because otherwise people will know you're just reading off of a script, right?
Yeah.
I also think the biggest thing that helped me with social media was just no one really cares.
No.
Yes,
That's what I
absolutely.
thought too. Like,
Nobody
if,
does.
If I miss like this one cue on a squat technique, no one cares.
You're the only one who cares.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, this 30-second video isn't going to teach you how to squat exactly right for life. It's just some pieces of advice that can lead them in that direction of learning more. And so it's like, yeah, the more you overthink it, it only brings you down. Because like you want to just be posting more and like yes, obviously make good content, but yeah, you can't just like scrap every video if it's not perfect.
And it's like, and if people like care about you, then they'll care about you regardless.
Yeah.
Even if
Yeah.
you have like a bad YouTube video, it doesn't matter.
And yeah, I find social media too, it's like 80% you and then 20% what topic you're talking about, because that just kind of pushes you towards certain people. But there's a lot of people giving advice on workouts, you know, so it's like they're gonna like you or this guy or whatever. But
yeah, there's a YouTuber right now, his name is like Sam Sulek or something. He's like huge right now. I haven't really seen some of his stuff, but I think it's just like he's blowing up, but he doesn't do all the fancy stuff, you know. He's literally just like, he just puts his camera on a tripod and just talks. And there's no fancy edits or anything, and it's just people love it because it's so authentic, and I guess he's knowledgeable and he knows what he's talking about, right?
Well, and it's kind of, I feel like things are coming back that way, almost like that natural long form content.
Yeah.
As opposed to like those quick cuts. I'm just like the TikTok version of everything like jumping in your face too much.
I think we were actually talking about this on the last podcast we filmed, but I think people are kind of getting sick of the algorithm tricks, like the 3-second video that then tells you to read the 20 paragraph caption. Like,
well, because once you know, you know.
Exactly.
And then when I see that, I'm like,
people don't like, even if they want to read it, even if it's interesting, they're like, you're tricking me. I don't want to.
Or sometimes I catch myself like, oh, I'm falling for it. Let me get out of here, you know?
Yeah. So it's like, I think people are leaning more to just real, like valuable, genuine content. But yeah, like you're doing all types of like split screen videos where like you're explaining and you're doing it in the back.
That took me so long to learn.
Yeah.
I was like,
no, you did a really good job.
And then there's a few of them where like I set the tripod up, but I remember backing up once right over here and I hit it. And
Yeah.
it moved and I was like, oh my god.
Now you have to retake the whole thing.
And I'm squatting like it was like my max of the day.
Oh,
like,
no.
I can't, I'm like,
I see. But yeah,
That's
same
the
thing. Like
worst.
you're doing the split screen. It's if they're a little off, you know, nobody's gonna like even actually. You know what's funny about social media is like if there's a weird little thing off, that's almost better because then you get people commenting about it. It's like that doesn't make it any less valuable. It now just makes more people give a reason to talk about it and share it and whatever.
That's the algorithm trick. You know?
It's another trick.
People
It's
will
like,
disagree with you guys. Let me squat like 600 pounds and you only have like 2 plates. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
It's just. But have you gotten a lot of clients from making social media content?
Yeah, like I've gotten a few, like a lot of people reach out to me, I find.
Okay.
They want online training, which is something that I'm not really for too much.
Okay.
But I have had a few like people come in. And the main reason I got into social media was because like my hockey guys were starting to come back after COVID.
Okay.
And parents were reaching out like, oh, we looked on you for social media, you didn't have an account.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I see it more of as like an online resume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not so much as getting clients, but like, this is what I do, this is what I know. Like if you like this type of training, come on in. If you don't, then don't come.
And you also like change it to like your name to NFort strength coach, like make it so when people are looking for NFort, they see this content and
SEO
make
friendly,
it searchable.
you know?
Because
that's the thing.
so Instagram is like competing with Google for searches. Like it's a search engine, so it's very important.
Which
it's
is
cool.
which is very wild.
But I think this was before the pod. I don't know if we were on, but you were mentioning YouTube as well, and I know you're doing some YouTube videos.
Yeah, I like YouTube in a way because I feel like I can demonstrate my skills more. Like you can talk about different techniques and like what I think about like what a vertical jump program should be. Like you can't just explain these things in 10, 20 seconds.
No, for
exactly,
sure.
yeah.
Like even like I filmed a warm-up video yesterday, what I think athletes should do for warm-up. And I'm like, okay, it'll just be a minute and a half. And then it's like 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, we're getting going here.
Yeah.
So I think YouTube is the best form like to convey my information to people.
Yeah.
And people connect with you more too on YouTube, right? Because with social media, then they'll just scroll past it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when they have to go out of their way to look for a specific video, for example, how to get better vertical jump, and then they come across your video, they'll connect with you a lot more rather than just come across it on social media too. Yeah. And you'll be able to convert them into a client too.
Yeah.
Like Instagram is way more people will see it, but way less connection. YouTube's the opposite. A lot less people, but it'll actually, if they're going to watch a 6-minute video of you explaining something, then they got something from it. And
you have a better community on YouTube, you know. That's when you can have quote unquote fans and that
like,
would follow you and stuff.
And if you're doing a vertical jump video, for instance, like people are searching that, right? So like these people are already interested in your product.
Correct.
So when they find you, they're going to be more interested. It's not like they're scrolling through and I come up.
Yeah.
Right. So
one thing too that like some of you should try is you film the YouTube video, like let's say the stretch thing, it's like a 5-minute YouTube video, and then just film a like 5-second like here's a warm up, whatever, and then just cut a few clips of the YouTube video. It's like make the short form after, you know, like, and then
Mason just gave me a job to do this.
and then you have both. So now,
Now I gotta learn how to do that.
And then you have a video on Instagram saying, go check out my YouTube video about this. Like,
Well, speaking about whole this social media thing, and I know you mentioned you don't want to do like online coaching and whatnot. Why not tap into that? Because there's a lot of money that you can make into that, right?
It's not that I don't want to do it. It's that there's so much competition for people that people are just like so price gougy. I find. I think if you're
Okay.
gonna do that, you have to go higher end.
Okay.
And
Because yeah, honestly, when I think of that, it is very much like here's a $10
Yeah.
butt program.
and again, I don't mind it. I think it can be done very well.
yeah,
It's just the amount of time to put into it. Like I've done it before, and I find the amount of time I get back, like feedback from people, like athletes writing me, like, "Hey, can you check this video? Can you do this? Can you do that?" Like, it's not really worth my time.
For
I
sure.
feel like when, let's say they're spending $25 a month, and you're spending hours with them a month going over their
Yeah.
videos. So if I do it, it's like a higher end price.
It would have to be like over.
it would either have to be
2,000, yeah.
a high end where you're actually training them, or you're more selling them resources. Like
That's true.
like
you write a program or like a program
like a
book.
vertical jump program, and it's just a
exactly.
PDF, and you pay 15.
And I do
whatever.
have that available for people.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad, but I always try to tell athletes, like, I'm not trying to hoard this whole market to myself.
Yeah.
Right? If you can go see somebody in person, you're going to have better results.
Mm-hmm.
So like I would much rather have an athlete that I care about. Let's say they move away, they go to Toronto or Vancouver. Go see somebody in person. You'll do better than me coaching you online.
Okay. So
And
it's
that's
nice that
interesting.
it's nice to hear this from you because
Yeah.
it shows that you really care about
Yeah.
these athletes. You don't really care about the money. Like, yo, I can make an extra like $15,000 a month if I just do this whole online stuff. But hearing that is really refreshing, you know, because a lot of people just do it for the money.
Yeah. But again, like those online clients aren't going to stay forever.
Exactly.
Right. So maybe you'll make a little bit more now, but like that referral from that athlete, maybe
Yeah.
he sends you 2 or 3 more athletes in the next month. That's worth a lot more to me than like somebody doing well online.
Because that's like very transactional online
Yeah.
too, right? And you don't have control of like one-on-one conversations, so you can just say a lot of bad things about you, and it could tarnish your reputation.
And it's very hard to do a good job, right?
Yeah.
Like once you get over having 50, 75, 100 clients, it's hard to dedicate time to each one of these people. There's diminishing returns, right? So as you get more people, your quality of service is going to be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know right now you have like people training at your gym.
Yeah.
Like you have personal trainers. How do you make sure that you pick the right person so that it kind of lines up with your business model?
Well, for me, we have like Nathan and Antonios right now, and they're both been good colleagues and friends of mine for the past like 10 years.
They were both at OIC.
Yeah.
Does Tyler train clients here, or does he just work out here?
Tyler is just, he has like, and again, so we talk about like relationships you've built. Tyler has 2 clients, and Tyler's got a good government job now.
Okay.
So he's just doing it because like
He
these people
enjoys
like him
it,
and he
yeah.
enjoys it. It's not for the money.
Yeah.
So like that's another person that he's a great guy.
Yeah, all OIC guys.
Yeah. So
All-
then back to like Nathan, like he brings a skill set that I don't have. Like he's an injury rehabilitation specialist.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with that. It's kind of like one of my weak points.
Okay.
So like anybody that comes into the gym and let's say they've got an acute injury, whatever, ankle sprain, low back, they go see him first. And then Antonios is a good kind of success story of mine too, where he's a great friend and colleague. He was a pro athlete that I trained at the OAC. And then now he's got into coaching. So having him back with me is like very fulfilling. Like it's almost like the full cycle.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
know you trained him at the OIC.
Yeah. And then so it's really nice for me to have these guys because again, it's trust, right? Like when you guys bring people on, you have to trust them.
Yeah.
You have to trust that not only they'll be good like to the facility, but the quality of service they provide is high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's tough. It's very hard to hire people. Like it's really hard to find people you can trust.
Yeah.
Do you find like do you have anyone like doing I saw like one of the hockey kids was doing, or maybe one of the BMX kids was doing the reception. Like is that just like volunteer hour intern type thing?
I have 2 co-ops now.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah. So
Because I was gonna ask, like, have you had trouble finding those? Is that just as hard to find someone at reception that you can trust and like these things? But at least that's someone you train, you know.
I don't think so. It's just we got to a point where the volume in here is so low that we don't really need somebody up there, I find.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
an expense perspective.
Yeah.
Same with maybe you guys, right? Like if you have your own studio and there's only 2 or 3 people coming in an hour, you don't need someone sitting there for 8 hours.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be a
absolutely.
waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we can make it out, or like if we need to, just put a lockbox or whatever. Like it's not at a scale that it needs a full-time person.
And
Not
again-
yet.
And yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah.
And
it will
again,
be.
but people like the people that are paying for your services, whether it's podcast or gym,
Yeah.
that doesn't matter to them. They
Yeah.
care about the quality of service they're coming into. Like when people go to the Good Life and the Movati, they want that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
People that come to more private atmosphere, they don't. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's
Like
very
a bunch
different.
of people were telling me like, no, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. That's one thing that's nice, especially like, cause yeah, I was here, like we've done content here. I was working at reception. Like I've been here a bit, and like,
Yeah, it's true.
there's some, it's just cool people, like very laid back, like
Yeah.
very easygoing people. And it's really nice. Like,
And it's trustworthiness. Right?
Yeah.
Like you have to trust these people, and that's fostered over years of like relationships
For
too. So
sure.
like I could leave for 6 hours one day and like I know everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Mainly because the people that work here are great. I've known them forever, and all the clients are really good too.
maybe lose a phone tripod or two, but
Oh,
you're good. Otherwise, you're good.
But again, so that guy, that was there was like we had somebody steal something, and
Yeah.
that person was they came in for one free class.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
So
that's why like after that happened, I said no, never again. Because then if someone doesn't value you enough to put money into your service,
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
would they value anything else here?
That's absolutely.
And
There's
it-
no connection between you and that other person.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
kind of just
Yeah.
transactional.
Because that's the thing, yeah. When you're providing something with value other than just, any other gym, like you have value to provide. So it's like you aren't just desperate to get anyone in for a free trial or free this or free that. It's like, no, this is what I provide, and I need to trust you that I can trust you to provide it to you. And so it's like you can be a little more strict up front of like what you need from someone
Yeah.
Yeah.
and have a real relationship.
So are you doing free trials to get clients into the door?
Like I've had a few people, like usually when somebody signs up or like I know an athlete's serious, I'll take them through an assessment for free, whether it's 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
But I don't really view it as that. It's more of like a meet and greet and kind of like to me
Yeah.
to talk to them, see how serious they are, and them to get to meet me. And then, like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't think every person in the world can be a match for every other person.
Yeah.
So like right away, let's say they don't like my coaching skills or I don't think they're committed enough, then we can go our different ways.
How do you
But
convince someone to like go with you though?
I don't convince anybody.
You don't convince?
No, I just kind of I take them through my assessment, and usually again like word of mouth has been built. So like if some athlete has done really well, like I just had 2 guys commit to go D1.
Oh wow.
If they tell somebody that like trained here and they did really well, that goes a lot further than any other sales technique.
Yeah. It's actually funny. You follow that book I read very closely. Like your job isn't to convince people.
Yeah.
Because then, like you're just lying. Like if they're making it very clear this is not for them, like nobody wins.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a little bit of false advertising too. Like I am who I am, and I think that you kind of develop that as you get older too. Like this is
Yeah.
my personality. I'm pretty like more introverted, quiet, laid back. If you like the coaching style where someone's yelling in your face,
Yeah.
like you may like it short term, but it's not going to work long
Yeah.
term. So.
No, you're the coach that'll be like you haven't been stretching before your workouts. Like, come on, man. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, you're not like
Yeah.
Well, it's
you're
more
not
like-
jumping down my throat. It's like you know what you need to do, dude. Like, what are we doing
And
here?
it's like you have to take individual responsibility.
Yeah.
If you want to get to a certain level of athletics, you have to.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can't do your warm up properly, and I have to ask you 10 times, you're not the right person.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
I
true.
see that a lot of your athletes are either BMX, hockey, or soccer. Are you only doing those type of athletes, or are you open to any type
No,
of athletes?
any type. Like I think I just so I've fostered like different relationships. So Ian Crawford, he was a professional lacrosse guy
Okay.
that I trained at the OAC, and he coaches BMX. So again, like those are relationships, right? So he coaches BMX, so he's brought about 10 or 15 BMX guys here.
Oh wow.
And then Anthony trains soccer guys. He played soccer. Those are what those come from. We had Yaya in here too, and he's a great basketball player. And so through him, we're getting more basketball guys. It doesn't really,
okay.
like, training doesn't have to be sport specific, right? You want to get people in the door. Let's say like you have a weak, whatever, injury history, weak ankles or knees. We have to fix those before you go back out. And the gym is just a place where you want to become as athletic, as fast, and as powerful as possible. It's not like we're doing basketball drills or
Okay.
like anything like that.
It
So-
allows it helps you perform on the court or on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, it's interesting because I guess it's less like this way of training is for basketball or hockey. It's just like, are you training as an athlete who's trying to optimize the little things for your sport, or are you trying to lose weight or this or that? So it's
Yeah.
like athletes are your
Yeah.
kind of direction.
And again, like you would never want to pigeonhole yourself. Like I know it's good maybe for social media to have like a specific niche. Like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like the basketball guy or you're the BMX guy.
Yeah.
But again, like in the real world, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the athletes are going to come to you and they're going to need help. So what you have to do is you have to understand the sport demands. Like the
Yeah.
conditioning demands of soccer are different than basketball and hockey. Understand those, condition them sport specifically, and then just teach them to be the best athlete they can be.
It was really interesting. Like, I'm obviously going to butcher this, but you posted something the other day like, oh, like this guy's training for a basketball game coming up, so we got to do a lot of vertical pushing and pulling or whatever, like you're doing like pull-ups and then shoulder presses, like you know, like I feel like a lot of people aren't thinking of it that way. Like you need to be able to train in this plane of motion and this plane of motion, and then be able to do this, and like it's about what your body needs to do and then what you need to train to get it there.
And it's individualized, and we go back to the online training why I don't like that. Like, let's say you are weak in this rotational movement or anything, we have to fix that for you.
Yeah.
And that's why when my athletes come to me, like I have a group of random athletes, tennis people, BMX, basketball, everything's individualized. Like we don't do a class structure. Like so everyone's in here with me, but they have their own programs.
Okay.
And I think that's what kind of separates us apart. Like I'll never do a class workout really.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now, because for me I've always thought that like, okay, we're having like a group fitness program right now and we're doing everything together, but that actually explains it all.
You just can't do that, right? Let's say you have a hockey team and some guy plays twice as many minutes as the previous guy, the next guy to him. Like he can't do as much volume in the gym as the guy that played a lot of minutes. So you have to be able to like change each workout program individually.
Is that a lot of work, having to like really know your client and your athletes? Because to me that sounds like a lot of tedious work, because you have to do a lot of like interviews and kind of just really know them as an athlete.
I think the more you do it, like, again, I've been in the gym for at least 40 hours a week for the last 15 years. So once you do that, like once you see athletes come through the door, you know, like David, if you walk through the door, I can tell right away if you've had a good sleep, how you're moving, how like any
How many hours of sleep do I look like I've had last night?
Probably about 5 or 6.
You know what? I actually did get around. Actually,
no, but I can just
6 hours. But I function well on 6 hours though.
But it's more so that just like let's say I watched you come in the door like 10 weeks in a row. I can know when you've had a bad sleep. Let's say like you're fighting with your girlfriend, anything like that. You have to drop down volume, right? Because our body doesn't differentiate between like workout stressors, life stressors, personal stressors, anything like that, right? So we don't want to run these athletes down.
Yeah.
So you have to like it, and then it's easy, right? Like, okay, just cut a set or cut your volume by 25%. Like, it's not that tedious. You just make decisions on the fly.
That's really smart too, though, because if you're trying to push someone who's not at their optimal level, that's when injuries happen, right? And that's the last thing you want people to have at this gym.
Well, that's the biggest thing with athletics too. It's number one is you cannot get people hurt, and obviously injuries do happen. Like you can get hurt lifting in the gym. Like stuff happens, obviously, but that's the biggest thing. You'd much rather have a healthy athlete for a long time than like a really powerful athlete that's hurt all the time. Like there's an expression, right? The best ability is availability. So you want your athletes always ready to play.
Clip that.
That's a bar.
In season.
But it goes back to like what you were saying about videos and like how for you it'll take you 4 hours. For us it's like half an hour. Like for us, if we had to figure these things out, we'd have to research everything someone says and like the injury and this and that. Whereas like you've experienced it so much, like the example I gave earlier, like that if I came to you at the gym at the OAC and was just like, oh yeah, this like right here on my back on the left side's hurting, and you'd just be like, yeah, well you should do this stretch and that and then work on this, and that's like okay.
Well, it's more you just take people through like diagnostics, like you do movement and like how like your pelvis would move. You can kind of see like, is it low back, is it hip, what's going on with you, and usually where you're injured is a symptom of something else. So if your low back's hurting, it's because maybe like your hip flexors are tight, you're sitting too much, you're not moving enough.
That's what I learned here. Like I used to, because I had a back injury and like I thought it was I need to like stretch my back, roll out my back, work out my back, whereas it's like it was actually a core issue and like a tight like other issue. Like it's just like it's wild to like,
and it's not really that, like I find some people overcomplicate. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Usually if you just get people like, don't sit for too long, get up, move around, do like your basic movements, you'll feel pretty good.
I have a question for the gym bros. So for the people that have gone like on like a couple months hiatus at the gym, like what's the best way to get back into it? Should you just start like a week of stretching, or should you just go back to how you were doing it before?
I think what you would do is do like like I always tell people, what's the best beginner program? And that's getting like a full body, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But again, it's to answer your question more specifically, it's what you can do well. So if you can only commit 1 or 2 times a week, then do that. If you can commit 3 or 4, then do that. You want to focus on unilateral, so one-legged, one-arm exercises, and things that kind of fix your structural imbalances. So like, let's say you sit a lot, you want to do a lot of walking lunges, right? Because it's the opposite of sitting. You get into that hip extension, like a long lever position. But there's no one answer to give for everybody.
But also like, because I find with me, obviously getting back in the routine, but if I like just do a regular workout like I used to, then I'll literally like not be able to move because I'm not used to it. Like, is it just do it like whatever you can do at the time, but just low weights, or like?
I think there's a step before that. It's like, why do you want to work out? Right? Like you have to figure out why you want to go back to the gym, because if you have that why figured out, then you'll be more committed.
That's interesting.
Like it's not like here's a program you're going to go do it. You couldn't do it before, so why can you do it now?
Yeah.
That
It's
was
more like, this is why I want to get fit again.
Yeah.
And if I focus on that, then I'll do well.
that was the hardest part for me after I stopped powerlifting. Was like, I don't know why, because I don't really care about looking muscular or whatever. I don't really, at the time, I didn't care that much about my health or whatever. Like, I'm good, I'm fine. So it's like, there was really nothing for me that I was like, that's why I'm going. I just going because I should, you know?
Well, and usually it's like a personal issue, right? Like as you get older, like me or like my parents or anything, you'll see things happen, like different injuries, maybe parents will get sick or anything like that, right? So you'll be like, I need to fix myself so I don't end up like that. And that's usually a good why for people. Or just maybe you looked in the mirror one day and you're like, oh my God.
No, yeah. For me, it is like, now it's just like, I just want to be able to function like in any situation. Like I don't want to,
longevity is
like,
is key.
Like he took me to a boxing class one day and I just like completely died, like fully
But again,
died.
you're going 0 to 100.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, and that's obviously too much. But yeah, I want to be able to not like throw up.
And that's
when
how
I
I've
do
actually
things
changed
like
my
that.
workout before. Because like before, that's how I actually have oh my God, I can't speak. Before I used to just work out and do whatever I can, right? Like just put my body to its, like push my body to its limit, you know? Like when I used to work out at OAC, I'd be like, I don't know what I want to do. Let me hit a PR on my deadlift. You know,
that's true.
let me clean 225. Let me see if I can do it, you know? And I would just do all these crazy shit. And now that I'm getting older, it's like, man, I just want to be able to do this till I'm like 60 or 70.
Yeah.
You know, so now I'm doing low weights. I'm not really hitting like crazy deadlifts or anything like that. But the biggest struggle that I have for me though is that I'm very stubborn. Like for example, I have this shoulder injury with my right shoulder right now, and I injured it from, remember when we took that Muay Thai class at Elevate? I was sparring that kid. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I injured it.
It's
and
like a 13-year-old fucked you up.
No, it wasn't just 13-year-olds. He was like 14
and a half.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
there was a 13-year-old fucking me up bad. Literally, I had to tell him, like, he was just messing me up. I'm like, yo, it's my first time. He's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, he was ripping me.
No, but that's the thing. Like for me, I'm a little stubborn because I love like fighting and I love training. And so I injured my shoulder and I was like, okay, I'll rest it. And I started hitting the bag again and I injured it again. And then I injured it again. I was like, now I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I'm still injured, but I still want to do it. But, like, where's the fine line of being able to do what I want to do without fucking myself over?
Well, that's where we talk about, like, how much volume you can do, right? Like, you want to step volume back up after an injury. So let's say you hurt your shoulder in jiu-jitsu or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You're, like, you have to rehab your shoulder first and then drop that volume back up as you go. So, like, let's say you can't just go from being hurt and then you feel better one day and then you get back to boxing for an hour.
That's exactly what
it's
happened.
Let's say you get hurt, you go see a specialist, you rehab it well, and then maybe 10 minutes of boxing, 20, 30, 40, and it that few weeks you take rehabbing it is going to be a lot more beneficial than you getting right back into it.
Okay.
But again, sometimes I find with athletes that give a good athletic mentality, you need a little bit of recklessness.
Okay.
Like you can't be so perfectly pragmatic in your lifting where it's like, this is 10%. Like you want to push it when you can and you feel good, but you also have to know your limits.
You have to know what your
But that's
limits
the thing.
are.
I thought I was feeling good, and then I was sparring this guy at the gym. I threw a left hook, and then I just felt my shoulder like dislocate and the muscle like tear. I was like, oh, that's bad. And like all the blood just rushed
shouldn't
down
do
my
that.
head. I was like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
That's where you get into something called sport demands, right? So the sport demands you do, like let's say you're fighting or you're playing basketball or hockey, whatever you're doing on the ice or on the field, it's going to be a lot more demanding than in the gym. Because you're going 100%, right? It's pretty rare in the gym we're pushing 100% all the time because it's not smart. So like let's say you go and you're in a real, like you're in a fight.
Yeah.
You have to go 100%, right?
Yeah.
And you're never going to be going 100% all the time for an hour on the bag. It's just not possible. So that's where you'll see people get hurt.
Yeah. Like in the game that's what you're training for. Like that's where you will push and maybe risk. Like that's where you're pushing your limits.
Yeah.
Like
that's when you're performing is when you're doing it at 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
But we got to get you in for rehab.
Seriously.
That's the thing. I'm pretty stubborn though with myself because like sometimes I feel like okay, I'm feeling better, then I'll just push myself back to where I was before.
Yeah.
You know, it's like okay, I rested for a week and a half.
Yeah.
But right now I'm kind of getting smart though. My shoulder hurts a lot, so I'm swimming. But then like I'm trying to like swim, but it also hurts by just doing strokes.
Yeah.
It's that bad, but like or I can't even sleep on my right side right now. because I'd wake up in the middle of the night because it's just agonizing.
So it's not better.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, but I can throw a left hook again though. So it is getting better.
I can't
so it
sleep
is
on
getting,
it.
so it is
but
getting better.
I should spar. Yeah.
Well, the shoulder is like a very mobile joint, right? When you think
Yeah.
about it, like your leg doesn't move as well as your shoulder does. So you're going to be
Yeah.
put in these positions, whether it's Muay Thai or boxing or hockey, anything. Like if you
Yeah.
slip and fall and you're okay here, like with your left hook, you're saying.
Yeah.
But if you fall and you're extended out here, like you're going to get hurt again.
Yeah,
Different
that's exactly what
motion.
happened.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I need to be careful, man, because man, health is actually everything. As I'm only 26, but I'm realizing I need to slow down a little bit. That's one thing that I'm realizing, because like my body doesn't heal the same way as it used to when I was like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember when I was playing baseball, I'd throw like 250 pitches in a week, you know, in one weekend, and that wasn't good. But like I remember like I'd be sore for 2 days and I'd be good again.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, oh my God, I did some shoulder press. Like I'm still hurting.
What is the age? Like, is there a kind of age range where that starts to happen? Like,
I don't think so. Like I'm still okay. I'm 37 now. I think it's more detraining. Like usually when you
Yes.
see people get into their late teens, early 20s, just like for me or for most people, you'll see like you go to school, whatever, maybe you hang out with friends more. You're kind of, that health aspect takes a back seat.
That's
And then you
true.
come back into your sport like I did. It's like, okay, I want to compete in things again, right?
Yeah.
I haven't played anything in 5 years, but I want to compete. So you start training hard, pushing sports, pushing athletics, and you get hurt, right?
Yeah.
So I always
Yeah.
tell people, like, try to keep some level of athleticism up in your programming, whether it's like for basketball guys that I teach, like keep your running, keep your jumping, because if you try to jump back into it, you're going to get hurt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were younger at that time, but you were also training as someone
Yeah.
competing in baseball.
Yeah,
So it's
I was training like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
You know?
So that makes
And you're
sense.
just much more sedentary now than you
Yeah.
were. Like when you're younger, you don't realize like how much you're moving around. You're rolling around. You're doing things on the ground.
Yeah.
You're just jumping and running, sprinting. We don't do that as much as young 20-year-olds.
Very true.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I remember, in high school, every lunch we'd try to like play pass with a baseball like on either ends of the football field, just like whip it. Like that was our day to day. Like you're just doing shit.
Go out for recess, go 0 to 100, just sprint as hard as you can for
Exactly.
30 minutes.
But that's the
Full
issue.
on.
But that's the issue with being like a former athlete, I would say, is that like I still have that competitiveness mindset, or like I know I can do certain things. Like for example, like if I play catch with my friends, I'm like, okay, yo, I know I can like throw really hard.
Yeah.
But I haven't played baseball in like 2 years, and I'd go the same level, but it's like, oh shit, that was a bad idea, you know?
That sport demands, right? So you're
Yeah.
always going to push your body further than it can go in the sport.
Yeah.
Because you want to do well, you're competitive, anything like that.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, you know. It's a good mindset to have, but then it really like messes you up,
Yeah.
physically though, you know.
Well, hey, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we literally took an hour to set this up, but
How long have we
I
been
think it's a
going on
sweet-
for?
We've been doing the pod an hour now.
Okay, wow.
But yeah, I'm just curious, like, just moving forward, like, as we wrap up, like, with the gym, you know, I think, you know, you've had it for what, 2 years now?
This will be our third year now.
Third year now?
Yeah.
Like, is this how you want it to go? Like, are you happy you just want it to stay this way? Or is there an end goal you see, like, that's how I want it to be running one day?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that, like, will I franchise this out sort of thing? And I don't know if that's the end goal or not. I think from a business perspective, it would be. But again, like me losing that personal kind of control and connection with all the people here, I wouldn't like as much.
Yeah, I didn't picture that. I didn't picture you franchising.
No, I never would. It's not my
Yeah.
personality, I
No?
don't think.
Yeah.
I saw it as like, if
I
anything,
shouldn't
it's
say
more
never,
you.
but-
Yeah, fair. You never know, but and again, yeah, if you figure out a like framework of finding these trainers that
Yeah.
fit that mindset, then maybe there is a way. But yeah, I guess I more saw it as like you getting more trainers in and you being able to step away
Yeah.
a bit day to
But the
day.
thing is, I'll never be able to step away. Like it's just, I love being on the gym floor with the athletes. I cannot see myself not being there.
Yeah.
Ideally, I wouldn't be here like 60, 70 hours a week. That would be nice for me, but I can never just give this up. Like some of my mentors are still doing it. They're like 50, 60 years old, right?
Yeah.
They're still doing it. And I think the good people in my industry will always do it because we love it.
What's one thing you think you can implement into your business right now that would prevent you from being here 60, 70 hours a week? Do you have a hard time delegating because you want to
Yeah.
feel like you want to be in control?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is hard.
That is hard, yeah. Especially when you're really passionate about your business. And like even going back to that whole like franchise thing, the issue with franchising, I think too, is that like, for example, if someone open up another location, let's say in Orleans, right? You have no control of what's going on over
Exactly,
there,
yeah.
right? And then like if they do such a terrible job, then it tarnishes your reputation, and it's just an overall bad experience for everybody, right?
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, the short-term financial gain from that wouldn't be the long-term like personal loss that I would take from that.
Yeah.
Because again, like this is a reflection of me here, and I value that, and I think every client here feels that. So if I were to do that and you had a bad service over there and it's a bad reflection upon me, like I would take that personally.
And people don't know that, right? People don't know that on the business side of things. Like they just think, oh, it's on for it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
a company. Yeah,
It's a company.
Yeah.
It's owned by Warren.
Yeah.
Regardless of where it is.
it's
So
true,
that'd be very difficult to do.
man.
But
yeah.
business move is that definitely that would be the way if
But-
you want to make
Delegation is hard though.
Yeah.
Like just because I think that like, well, you guys know, like the amount of passion we put into this and learning, like all the stuff that the programs that I build for people, I put so much time into that for me to delegate that to somebody else, I know they're most likely not putting the same amount of work in.
Or you'd be paying, like it would not be your average employee. Like you can't really hire that passion of like, this is my thing that that represents me.
Yeah. No one will care about your business more than yourself.
That's true,
that's
yeah.
just the bottom line of it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, other than like getting a little of your time back, like day to day, this is what you want to be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even after being here every day, like this is what I love. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to be like when I drive into work in the morning, I'm not upset. Even if it's like 4:45 in the morning, I'm happy.
That's
Which is
cool.
a neat sensation, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like other jobs, people talk about like how miserable they are and everything. Like when I hear that, I'm just like, well, then change something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be stuck.
Did you feel that at all at the OAC? Like,
No, because I controlled my own schedule, and again, I was more like working with clients and athletes than I was for the OAC.
Yeah.
Like that's how I viewed it too.
so it was a similar,
The OAC
obviously this is a little more
Yeah, of course.
exciting, but
And like, I'm truly thankful for all the clients. Like maybe same as you guys too, because without the clients, I'm really nothing, right?
Yeah,
So like
absolutely.
without them, I wouldn't be here. So I try to convey that to everybody too.
yeah.
Like, if people want to stop paying for my services, I can't have this gym.
Yeah.
That's the difficult thing about being a business owner, right? Is
Yeah.
like you have full control of everything. It's not like an employee where like you could do nothing all day and you still get your paycheck at the end of the end of the week, right? Whereas here, if like you don't get any money, it's a reflection of your work,
Yeah.
right? It's a reflection of what you're doing and what you're not doing.
Exactly. And like if things have to get done, like the floor needs to be mopped.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's 9 to 5. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. It's like, no,
Exactly.
I have to do it now, so I'm gonna stay late tonight. Clean the bathrooms, whatever it
Yeah.
takes.
But there's a beauty
so
about
true.
it though, is that like you don't mind doing it, even
I
though
actually don't.
even though like I wouldn't want to be cleaning someone else's bathroom,
Yeah.
you know. But like I'm willing to clean my bathroom. I'm willing to mop the floor. Like it hits different. Like for me, like I wake up, it's like, oh, today's gonna be a long day, but it'll be a fun day. Like I'm willing to work. That's the biggest difference between like where you have to work and where you want to work, right?
And it's neat because that's your perception.
Yeah.
It's the same task, but you're perceiving you doing that same task differently just because
Yeah.
it's for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I view it as almost meditative when I mop the floor. I'm just like, this is nice. Like I've always wanted this in my life. So
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
I just take a step back and
Absolutely.
just think like this was my goal 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be happy? Back then I would have said I'll mop the floor for 40 hours a week just to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
That's a
so
beautiful
true.
perspective, you know.
I love it. Well, as we finish up, if we have any athletes or anyone listening that wants to check the place out, what's the go-to? Where should they check it
I think
out?
just go to www.enfort.ca, enfort.ca.
Right
or my
there.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Enfort Strength Coach.
Yeah.
can
Are you
find
taking
me
new
there.
clients right now, or are you
Athletes,
fully booked?
yeah. Athletes, as soon as the summer starts, it gets very busy with all my returning athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But right now, like I have two multi-group athlete sports, so we just get different. Doesn't matter what sport you play, I can fit you in.
Okay.
But other than just training with you, they can do physio
Oh, yeah.
here,
We have
eat
physiotherapy,
rehab.
yeah. And we have physiotherapy, injury rehab, and
Yeah.
different athletic development coaches. So I actually have a basketball guy here now and Anthony, who specializes in soccer, but Anthony is very good at everything.
Mm-hmm. Basketball guy, is that Sean or
It's
someone else?
Nate Garcia.
Oh, okay.
So
I've
Nate
never met
Garcia
him.
was the point guard at Algonquin.
Okay.
I've seen some of his stuff. I think I follow him on social media. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
sounds
he's
like a
he's
nice
very,
guy.
very good too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, check it out. Definitely come check the space out. It's
Man, you
super
gotta
sick.
add like MMA fighters here, bro. Honestly, that's
You have a bag now, right?
We have a
Oh,
bag.
do you have a
Yeah,
bag?
yeah, yeah.
Well, one of my mentors was a boxing coach too.
Okay.
He worked in the NHL for 25 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've learned a lot from him. He actually comes here in the day too. But like I trained at Pan Am, jiu-jitsu girl like at the OIC. She was
Oh, wow.
She was a bronze medalist, I believe. And you talk about your 14-year-old taking you guys out, like she
of
was like,
course.
let's roll. And I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm a big guy. I can do this.
Yeah.
Just choked me out like 15 times and just
Yeah.
walked out defeated.
It's insane.
But you realize like that's a skill, right? It's like,
Yeah,
it's like a
absolutely.
14-year-old hockey player asking you to go play hockey against them if you've never played hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, just because you think you're good at something doesn't mean you're good at something else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
No, it's true.
And that's an issue with a lot of people, you know, it's like, oh,
Thinking.
yeah.
What's that? The classic, like Bradley Martin just saying he can beat anyone up, any like UFC fighter up because he's big.
Because it's 260.
Yeah.
I just think those people say that for a reaction, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
they've never had to like,
Yeah.
because I did one box like a Muay Thai class where I sparred, and it was like instantly I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's
1000%.
overwhelming. Yeah, it's a different type of cardio.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah,
It's 100% for 5 minutes.
yeah,
Yeah.
You ask someone to go push a sled for 5 minutes straight, they'll last 30 seconds and
Yeah.
just die.
I
Yeah.
even find that with swimming, bro. Like for me, I can go for a 5-kilometer run, no
Yeah.
problem. I can't swim more than 2 laps. It's actually really hard. I don't know why, but I
Yeah.
think it's just different muscle that's involved, or maybe
Yeah.
maybe my
I think-
technique is not right. I don't know.
I think it's just experience.
Yeah,
Like if you were to
probably.
go swim every day for the rest of your life,
Yeah.
and not go run at all, and then switch those,
Yeah,
you'd find
fair.
that you'd be like, running is so hard.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's same muscle, which is your heart.
Yeah,
You know, but it's just so different.
That's
though.
interesting. Yeah.
But
But
no,
yeah,
awesome.
check it out because I mean this is just one spot. You know, we got the small gym there, we got the turf up there. Like there's a lot to see here. It's a sweet spot.
There's a lot of content you can see online, right?
Yeah.
There's a gym tour that
Well,
you have
you
on your
guys did it.
website.
Yeah. Check it out.
Yeah.
But no, thank you.
I remember
Warren.
that
This
was still
sweet.
the yellow wall or orange.
It
Maybe.
It was orange, eh?
Was it
Yeah.
orange or yellow? No, it was yellow.
It was orange.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a brighter orange, not this orange
it was
either.
It was like a Halloween orange.
Yeah.
Okay.
This new orange is very nice.
Why am I tripping? What?
It was like a much less red orange, so it was
Okay.
more in that direction for sure.
Okay, I'm just tripping.
Well, that's like when I moved in here, there were 2 separate gyms, right? So that was a small personal training gym, and this was more of the group training gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when I moved in, I saw like a vision where that can be more injury rehab, more private, and this can be more of like general pop, more athletic population. In
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. No, it's such a sick spot.
No, absolutely.
I love it.
I love it.
All right, well, thank you, man.
All right,
This was very cool. Appreciate you having us
Thank
over. And
Now
yeah.
time to work out. Let's fix.
Let's
my
get
shoulder.
it. Let's clean,
Oh,
let's
man,
clean
I'm
this
not
shit
ready.
up. All right, peace, guys.
All
Thanks
right,
for
thank
watching.
you for watching. Peace.